सर रिकॉर्डिंग स्टार्ट कर दी, आप क्लास शुरू कर दो, चार बच्चे भी आ गए हैं, कुछ कर देना।
Okay, okay, I am going to start.
ओके सर।
ये मेन स्क्रीन पे मेरा नहीं आ रहा है, उधर और किसी का आ रहा है, तो वो कैसे ठीक होगा एक बार आप बता दीजिए, देन आई विल स्टार्ट।
क्या चीज सर?
जो मेन स्क्रीन है जहां मैं अपना ये पीपीटी चला रहा हूँ, जैसे ये
अच्छा।
मैं अपना पीपीटी चला रहा हूँ, वहां पर जो नीचे फोटो आती है वो मेरी नहीं आ रही है, वो किसी और के उस पर आ रहा है, संदीप कुमार जी के नाम से आ रहा है। यहाँ पर मेरा कैसे आएगा ये मुझे बता दीजिए आप।
ये सर तो ये तो मेरा ही है, संदीप कुमार सिंह, मैं ही हूँ सर।
अच्छा आप ही का, तो आप ही का रहेगा नीचे यहाँ पर।
हाँ जी, अब तो मैंने बंद कर दिया अपना, म्यूट कर दिया सर।
नहीं वो नहीं, फोटो भी आप मतलब आपका जो नीचे फोटोग्राफ वाली जगह वो आप ही का आ रहा है, तो इज इट ओके फ्रॉम योर साइड?
यस।
ओके, so I'm going to start. Good morning, students. Today we are going to start this revision class of human resource analytics. The syllabus consists of 5 units, and in next 5 hours we will try to cover these topics mentioned in these 5 units, and we will try to cover key areas, as it's difficult to cover the entire syllabus in 5 years. So we will be touching upon the key topics, and we will be talking about those key topics. Whenever you are having any query, you can send it through just a minute. So whenever you are having any query, you can ask me in the chat box. Chat box is there. So you can see the chat box. Chat box is there. You can ask any query in the chat box. Before I start the class, the disclaimer is that the data has been taken from number of the places, and hence it is our duty to acknowledge those resources like internet, YouTube, textbook, research paper, etc. and from so many sites. One. Second, whatever the data has been taken from their side, it's for the educational purpose only, not for any commercial purpose. Further, as the topic belongs to human resource, we may be discussing number of the examples, and those examples are only for the purpose of class discussion and understanding the concept. It has nothing to do in terms of hurting feelings of any kind, any religion, country, gender, caste, race, etc. This is the syllabus consisting of the 5 units. In the next 1 hour, we will be trying to cover the unit number 1, which will provide you basic understanding of HR analytics. Then what are the challenges, the basic HR analytic process, and what are the common pitfalls of HR analytics. Before I start this class, you should know why we are reading this subject, why HR analytics has become so important in last few years, and that's why it has been introduced in almost all of the good B schools. Students should have understanding of this subject. So why this subject has become so important? I will start from the very basics, and then we will try to connect this HR analytics with entire organization. So when we talk about the organization, we will start from the organization. As all of you know, that organization is that entity when people are coming together to achieve some common objective. For example, the objective of Apple could be to produce innovative products. That's why they produced Apple iPhone, then iPod, and they may be thinking of launching some new products. So organization is that entity where people are coming together for common objective. And remember one thing, there are two type of, broadly there are two type of organizations. One is government organization, second is private organization. When we talk about government organization, the main objective of any government organization is public welfare. Wherever when we talk about any private organization, the main aim of any private organization is profit making. And all things, other related things are linked with profit only. In order to earn profit, or or you can see it from the different perspective, like enhancing the share value of my organization, enhancing the growth, all those things are concerned with the profit. And in order to earn more and more profit, I will do more and more innovation. I will handle market accordingly. I will recruit efficient people, intelligent people, knowledgeable people who will help me to achieve my objective of earning more and more profit. And with respect to profit only, all other things like marketing department, like finance department, like HR department, all activities are directed towards earning profit only. And when we talk about management, if we are having an organization where we are serving some common objective, maybe some developing some innovative product with the intention of earning profit, so we need some management. And these are the five important perspective of management. Management is consisting of these five basic functions: planning, organizing, staffing, leading, and controlling. One thing. Second, now coming back to very basic model that you have come across, very basic model, that is input, process, and output. Now an organization has to make profit. In order to earn profit, the organization need to be innovative, need to think in terms of product and services. Now what are those products and services that an organization would like to develop in future in order to have competitive advantage over its competitor? So how an organization will come to know about those products? So the decision has to be taken that which product is to be produced by the organization. How the decision will be taken place? Decision will be taken place based on the data. So organization is having number of the departments, and some of the department are concerned with collecting the data and then processing the data. Now, from data, what will we get? For example, suppose I want to launch a new model of a SUV in Indian market. So first, I need to understand the preferences of the customer. How will I come to know about the preference of the customer? I will go to the customers, I will ask their opinions, I will do survey, I will do in-depth interview, I will discuss about their requirements. Then based on that marketing research, I will get some recommendations. Those recommendations, now I am using one word, that is insight. So you are having data from the market, as well as you are just not having the data from the customer. You can also utilize the data which is available on social media sites. In social media, we post number of the photographs. We always do write reviews of the various products. So can I utilize the data also in order to get insights? So in order to earn profit, or in order to be innovative, or in order to be in order to launch new products and services, an organization need to make decisions at each and every level, starting from the top level to the middle level to the lower level. In order to make decision, organization need to have of insights from the data. So coming back to IPO cycle that I discussed just in the previous few minutes, input, process, output. So output is nothing but the insight that we are getting from the data. This output is in terms of insight is being given to the decision maker to take decisions. And then uh, the input is the data. That may be simple data, that may be big data, that may be structured, unstructured data. And then in processing, IPO. So all type of analytics, algorithms, functions, all are concerned with your processing part. So in this way, this data and the various method to handle the data, then insights can be linked to the decision making to the organization. And there are 5 key functions of the management: planning, organizing, staffing, leading, and controlling. And out of these 5 basic function, one of the key function is staffing, which is concerned with the human resource. So you understand the importance of the human resource in the organization. Today we are talking about artificial intelligence, machine learning, robotics, etc. Still, we are not having even a single organization where all everything is done by AI agents or robots. So no organization can work without human resource. Human resource is one of the important resource as compared to other resource, because everything is done by the resource. You can have good technology, you can have good office space, you can have budget, money with you, but until and unless you are having good human resource with you, it is difficult for an organization to have competitive advantage. Now, when we talk about staffing, this is the entire spectrum of the staffing operations of the organization. We start from the recruitment, then performance, L&D, learning and development, human resource planning, planning of recruitment of human resource in future, planning, sorry, planning with respect to the succession, with respect to replacement. So succession planning is there, replacement planning is there. Then career development, performance appraisal, along with the compensation management, all are the key aspects of the talent management. Now, the problem with the people in the organization is that it has been highlighted by Harvard Business Review in 2014 that approximately 85% to 97% of people are relying to take decision based on the intuition. Intuition, nothing but the gut feeling. So if I believe I am having feeling that it may work, I will take decision accordingly. Uh, it may or may not work. Now the focus is shifting towards the data. So if I am taking some decision based on the intuition, I may not be having the complete data with me, or I may be ignoring the data that is available to me. Intuition works, but it is more important if we also talk about the data that is available to you. For example, suppose I have to move from this place to some another place and I'm going by my vehicle. So rather than just thinking that that route may be good, I can take the data. Maybe I'm using a Google map. I will be using my past experience, the experience of the others, in order to select the particular path. Second, the another important thing with respect to HR is that there are number of the biases. If a person is taking decision, he or she may be overconfident person. So he or she may be having a very vast experience, a good numbers of the years in terms of experience, but the person may not have complete data, and sometimes the overconfidence creates problem. Second, escalation of commitment. It means I am taking the decision even when there is a clear evidence that it is wrong, because like I am committed towards taking these decisions. So again, in this scenario, I am ignoring the data. Then hindsight biases. I thought it's again my assumption that whatever the prediction I have done, it will work. But in actual scenario, it is not working. In spite of that, I am not able to see those things. Then halo effect and horn effect. Sometime based only one thing. We, for example, suppose I have to select some person to my organization, and I am ignoring all his or her aspects and just concern only one thing that I liked most, and only based on that particular quality of that person, I am hiring that person. So there is a halo effect. The reverse of this halo effect is horn effect, where I am rejecting the person only just based on one aspect that I didn't like, in spite of having all other things in a positive way. So when we talk about HR, we all are people, we are having our biases. And the biases again affect the decision in negative way. So in order to avoid those biases, can we think in terms of the data? Further, if you see the organization, what is the first step they do whenever they are doing cost cutting? First step is the layoff. So whenever a company wants to reduce the cost, the company goes for layoff, where people are affected, they are losing their jobs. It means the mindset of the top management is that if we are removing or we are not hiring many people, the salary that we could give them is our saving, and in that way we are reducing the cost of the organization. Now why it is so? Because if we talk about the production, I can say I have produced 1000 units and 1000 units has been sold in the market. So I am having clear cut induction with respect to the various aspects of the production linkage with my profit. In the similar way, I can link marketing functions. I have spent so much on the advertisement. With spending on this advertisement, I have got so much business, or my sale has increased. Again, I'm having numbers to convince to the top management. So top management think that the people who are at marketing or who are at the production level, whatever they are doing, it is linked to the profit of the organization. But is it so easy? If I am working as HR head and I can say that I have hired these 5 persons in this year, and that has enhanced my profit in terms of numbers, in terms of percentage or the actual amount that has resulted in terms of enhancement in the product. It was earlier, it was very difficult on the part of human resource, and human resource was considered as a cost center. So in order to reduce the cost, the first affected party is always human resource. So there was pressure on the part of HR to provide the linkage of HR to the performance, and how we can link this HR to the performance. So the focus shifted towards the data-driven HR-related decision. For example, suppose I can say, or based on the data, in last year I have hired this so many person, the cost incurred is X amount, and this year we have enhanced our performance by reducing the cost by del X factor. So my new cost that occurred during this current year is X minus del X. It means based on the data, I am showing that whatever I have saved del X has contributed towards the profit. So the focus shifted towards the data-driven HR-related decisions, because HR also need to justify itself. HR also need to provide its linkage to the strategic objective of the organization as well as the profit of the organization. And from there, the HR analytics was started, and the organization started to think about the HR analytics. These are the some of the reports where say the HR is becoming very important in the future. Now we need to understand what is analytics is all about. Human resource, the resource which is concerned with the human in the organization. Now what is the analytics? Analytics in a very simple term is the discovery of or finding of the patterns or the trends from the data. For example, I am having the data of last 1 year in terms of recruitment. Now, again, I use that data just to get insight. How many people I have recruited in the last 1 year? How many people have left the organization? What are their performance? What are the skill gap? And based on the last 1 year data, can I predict, okay, next 6 months, I am going to recruit about so many people. So now I am having the data. And based on the data, I am getting meaningful patterns from the data. So analytics is concerned with finding the meaningful data, meaningful patterns and trends from the data. And it uses the concepts from the different disciplines like the statistics, computer programming, OR, etc. And now when I link this analytics with HR, or when I am applying the concept of analytics in HR, it becomes HR analytics. So now we are defining this in a formal way. HR analytics, also known as people analytics, also known as workforce science, is concerned with the mix of understanding pattern. So we are concerned with understand pattern in the case of human resource based on data. So we are using data as an input. I have told you input, process, output cycle. So my data is input. Then algorithms. I am applying these algorithms on that data. So algorithm is concerned with the processing part of that IPO cycle. And intuition, we cannot completely avoid the intuition in decision making. So based on our experience, what type of algorithms I have to apply, what type of analysis I need to have in based on my requirement. So all those things are done at the algorithms levels, and then IPO, input, process, output. But then at the output level, I am getting the insights or the trends or the patterns that I wanted to explore from the given data. And that output, the trends, the insights, the patterns, all those things will help to make effective and efficient decision on the part of the concerned persons. If we are talking about the HR, maybe HR head, maybe your top management people, CEO, or board, all those concerned who have to take decision, the insights will be given to those. And algorithm that will apply the insight we are getting is concerned about the all aspect of talent management or human resource, like the recruitment, like the learning and development, like their performance appraisal, etc. So I am applying the concept of analytics, or I have to find the insights from the HR data by applying some of the algorithms so that I can make effective utilization of those insights in decision making by all concerned parties with respect to the various aspects of human resource. This is known as HR analytics. HR analytics is data driven process. So like I may be having very good car, very expensive car, SUV, even the top model of SUV, very luxury car, but it won't work until and unless the fuel is given to it. Fuel maybe in terms of petrol, in terms of diesel, in terms of electricity in the case of e-vehicles, etc. So data is the fuel for HR analytics or any type of analytics. Data is fuel. So with respect to HR analytics, the data is concerned with HR, and the data is the most important aspect of the analytics. And this some of the example dashboard. We will discuss this in detail in next few units. Just for your understanding, this is the dashboard where we can project the data. We can show the data to all concerned in terms of these tables, in terms of charts. Now, how will it help? uh, when we talk about the top management, they are not having so much time. They want everything on just a click away. And you all know that if I am having the detailed data, I won't be able to understand the data in an effective way and in a very short period of time. If it has been given in terms of some graphic visualization. So dashboards help in that way, and analytics provide this data which can help the decision making. For example, Suppose I am having total employee 1470, attrition 237. So just by seeing this, I can understand how many people are leaving the organization, and I can apply the filters. If total there are 237, how many male and how many females are leaving the organization? What is the time period when they have left the organization? We can also identify these attrition with respect to different departments. So everything is just a click away, and this will help the decision maker to take the decisions, so that they can think in terms of the people they will be recruiting in future, by spending a very less amount of time, rather than if they are having the complete report of 100 pages and they are just reading the complete report, they are not having so much time. So such type of tools available in analytics will help the top management to make effective decisions. There are some of the examples. Then we need to understand how the HR analytics have evolved over a period of time. I have taken this from the David Green in June 2021. He published this work where in the source history of people analytics in 5 stages, they are talking about the 5 stage of evolution of HR analytics, starting from discovery, which consisted very long period of time, almost 100 years. So it was the beginning of the discipline, beginning of the understanding of the human resource in the context of the organization in a formal way. So it started with the Taylor scientific management theory. Then starting from 2010, you can see the changes are happening in a drastic manner. 2010 to 15 realization, then innovation, value, and excellence. So first is the edge of discovery. The key points with respect to this is the work done by Taylor, the principle of scientific management, where focus was on not on human resource, but on the efficiency in the organization. So focus was on enhancing the production. If I say enhance the production, it means I need to develop the production capacity of the people involved. So there were a number of the steps taken during that period. The research was done. This was the first period. The focus was on efficiency, maximize the productivity, etc. Then there was another concept related to human resource developed during this period, 80s, 90s. Even the scorecard was developed during this period. So from that, starting from 1911 2010 is considered the primitive stage of experimentation, when number of the experiments were done on the human resource in order to understand this human resource, in order to get insight about this important resource. So these things happen in the first phase of the evolution of HR analytics. Then there was second phase, 2010 to 15, there is a gradual maturity and stabilization. It started mainly after the 2008 global financial crisis, and there was drastic changes in terms of the technology. When I said technology, the key technology is IT, when number of the concept evolved, number of systems were developed. The computational power was uh, the computational power has increased very fast, and the cost has declined very fast. So even the normal organization could afford these basic IT services. A number of the models have been developed during this period, and one of the classical article during this period focusing on the HR analytics was written by Davenport and his associate, that is competing on talent analytics. One more thing with respect to this period, this is again a remarkable thing, is the project Oxygen taken by the Google, focusing on the human resource of the organization and generating data from this project. Then there was a third phase of this evolution, starting from 2015 to 2020, where there was focus on developing the tools, developing the new ideas with respect to the HR analytics, and focus was shifted toward the chief human resource officers, how we can link the performance of the people towards the profit of the organization, how we can measure their performance in terms of numbers, how we can apply different aspects of analytics in the human resource. So new things, new models, new algorithms, how the technology can be utilized, the software, new software to processing, what the hallmark of this third phase of the human resource analytics. Then the fourth phase, they started specifically after during the COVID-19 and after COVID-19. And this was becoming very important during that days, because that started the new way of handling the people. So organizers started doing work from the doing started asking people to work from the home. So now the person who were earlier sitting in their office at same place, now they are sitting in their home. They need to make work life balance, as well as they need to interact the people in the virtual environment using these various type of tools, like in the same way we are having this class using Microsoft Team. So this is new way, and the people started learn how to adjust with this new scenario. So during that, it was very important to assess the performance of a person who is sitting at his or her home and doing the work of the organization. Now it is not 9 to 5 job. It depends on the requirement. So those things have changes. Further, the another important factor is becoming very important is Industry 4.0 started from somewhere 2012. So focusing on more and more automation, focusing on the latest tools and technique like that, like artificial intelligence and machine learning, and can we apply those things in the case of HR also? So this was the period known as the age of value, where more and more are being invested in human resource. More and more technology, that new changes were being incorporated and being incorporated currently also. Then the next is that is being predicted up is 2025 to 2030. One of the important characteristic of this 2020 to 2025 is the four pillars known as trust, emotions, inclusion, equality. So not only just about the numbers, but in addition to number, all linkage of the human resource with these things. We are talking about the equality, we are talking about the inclusion, we are also started talking about the belongingness, diversity, etc. Then the future 2025, the new evolution will be concerned with the age of excellence, where companies are investing heavily on the human resource functions. Apart from this, some of the key aspects of the evolution concerned with the measurement imperatives. The article is somewhere in 1978. Then the concept of benchmarking. We'll be talking about the benchmarking in the consecutive in the next few slides. Then some other aspects also, starting the commercialization of the Hadoop R and applying those concepts in the case of human resource. Now, what are the challenges with HR analytics? I think at this stage, all of you have understood the first why we are having so much focus, or we are taking interest in HR analytics, because of changing the mindset of the top management concerning the HR. So HR is no longer the cost center. HR has to prove itself and provide the insight of HR toward the decision making, so that the organization can make decision at a strategic level. Then we have understood the what is HR analytics. We understood the evolutions. Now, if HR analytics is so important, all organization can invest into it, and that all of them can have HR analytics. In spite of that, they are not implemented this HR analytics completely, and almost all majority of organizations are into it, but all organizations are still not having these things in a proper shape. So there are various challenges for this. One is data related. Like I have told you that in order to, to run a car, you require fuel. So you can understand the efficiency of car depends on the fuel. One is availability of fuels. If the fuel is available, what is the quality of the fuel? In the similar way, when we are talking about HR analytics, we are concerned with the data. Without data, no algorithm will work. You will not get any insights if you are not having data. And just having the data is not sufficient. The data should be good, acceptable, reliable. Another important aspect with respect to data is that if you are using data, what about the security of the data? The other organization can take your data and you may lose your competitive advantage. Further, always we talk about the privacy of the data. If I am employee of an organization having all my complete data, I am always concerned about the privacy of my data. So organization need to provide the security of the data. Then data cleansing. We have got data, but there may be some noise in the data. So we need to have we need to involve in data cleansing. The data should be clean. The data should be error free. The volume of the data. Now we are in 2024. Almost all of you are having multiple social media accounts. You are on LinkedIn, you are on Facebook, you are writing the review of the products, you are uploading your pictures. You are also uploading your picture while using some of the products, and you are using Netflix, you are using Prime Video. So all those places you are having your own data. Further, you are using their services. So your preference also being recorded. Data is creating a very large speed and with the huge volume known as big data. So you need to handle big data with respect to people also. Then the ethical and security concerns. I cannot use the data employee without their permissions. So I need to take their permissions for using the data. I need to be very sensitive about the some aspects of the data. Gaps in the data collection. Then I may be having the data. What about analysis skill? Am I having expertise? I am having the sufficient manpower who can work on this data. And it's not just about the programmer. Is the main thing with respect to the analysis is what are your requirements? That is more important rather than just putting the outcome in a simple table. Only those outcomes need to be put to the top management which are relevant to them. So who will identify which data, which outcome is relevant? There should be experts for this. Then big data is not so big. It means the small organization may not be having that big data. Moreover, even if they are having big data, they may not be having the complete understanding expertise in order to handle that big data. The another important aspect with these challenges with HR analytics is mindset. How many of you will be willing to come out of your comfort zone? So if the people are working from so many years in HR, they are working in a traditional manner, and suddenly we ask them to use numbers, to use different metrics, they may not be comfortable with it. Further, the top management may not be supportive because in order to apply this HR analytics, you have to make some investment. You need to hire some experts. You need to have softwares. So whether your top management is interested or not, they may have the traditional view that HR is a cost center. So why should we should invest so much on this HR department? Why we should invest more on HR analytics? So inertia, the mindset is these two are very important with respect to this HR analytics. Then financial viability. I want to have HR analytics in my organization. So I need to develop IT infrastructure. Am I having that money with me? Am I having those resources to invest into it? So if I am having limited resources, I may not go with this HR analytics. Then lack of stakeholders buy-in. Uh, okay, I have invested in my department, but whatever the output I am generating, the other department may not be willing to take it. So who are the stakeholders of my outcomes? Then I need to work in terms of ethical and legal frameworks. There are compliances that I need to follow. Maybe some uh, acts, laws made by the governments, their compliances, etc. Then if I am implementing some new system, I am implementing some new changes, introducing some new software to the people, there may be resistance from that side. They might be thinking that because of this analytics, they might lose their job. Now everything will be assessed in terms of numbers. Earlier, it could be a gray area. So we as HR are hiring people maybe 1 month, next time we maybe 1.5 months, but we are not comparing with each other. So nobody is assessing our performance. But now in HR analytics, when we are having these frameworks with us, when we are having this model with us, we are concerned in matrices, we are concerned with the benchmarking. So all those performance being done by the people in HR department will be assessed. Uh, and people may have a fear of their appraisal, performance appraisal in this way in terms of numbers. Then the right tools, the number of the tools available in the market, what are those right tools for your organization? It may be a challenging task to identify those tools with respect to your organization. Then no confidence, the organization may not be having confidence in terms of numbers, whether we will be able to do justice with it or not. So all these are the different challenges. Now, another important thing is with respect to the data, and some of the things I am highlighting this, the sources HBR, Harvard Business Review. Okay, you are focusing on HR analytics, you are overcome all those challenges, you are having money, you can buy software, even people are ready. So now you need to shift your focus on some of the important aspects, like what data you need. You may be a huge amount of data, but what is data for your purpose? What is from where you will get it? How you will get it? Whether you are using only existing data or you need to gather some new data also. You need to have answer of all these questions, quality of the data, whether data is biased or not. If you keep track of AI, the development of AI, you may know that in last few months, there were apprehension on the part of the chat GPT or similar models like Gen AI models, where if we are asking about the opinion of some politician, the system was giving the outcome which which seems that it is giving the biased outcome. So data should not have biases. Ultimately, all those models are learning from the data. So if data is wrong, again, uh, whatever you will do, whatever, how many, whether you are using very sophisticated software, in spite of that, you are not getting good output. For example, if we are teaching a small kid, the kid will learn the way teacher is teaching the student. If teacher is efficient and he is a good, he or she is very good teacher, he may teach in such a way that all concept will be clear on the part of that kid. On the contrary, the teacher may teach in the different way, where the student is not understanding the concept, but they are doing some sort of data fixing, or they are simply memorizing the things. So again, it depends on the learning. In this case of your analytics, it depends on the data. So if there is a biased data is there, the outcome will also be biased. Whether the data is sufficient, what is the cost, the data is freely available or not. If you have to gather the data, what is the cost of this data? Data is clean or not, structured, unstructured. Now you should know the difference between structured and unstructured data. Structured data is the data which is arranged in a particular format, like your data in SOL, name, email ID, phone number, address, course. So the complete data is in terms of table, which with fixed column, with fixed data type. That is structured data. But if you talk about the data which is there in social media, it may be your photographs, it may be video, it may be simple data, text data, data in terms of Word file, PDF, etc. So you can see the different type of data, and all these data cannot have same structure to store. So that is known as unstructured data. Then data. So now another important thing is KISS rule, applicable in number of the places. Keep it simple. If the things can be handled in a simple way, why we want it to make more and more complex? Fine. For example, suppose I have to move from my house to nearby university, which is 2 kilometers away from my house. I can go with by walking, or I can have my scooty. On the contrary, if suppose I am rich, I may be having my helicopter. Now, if I have to go 2 kilometers, is it a wise approach to use helicopter until I am having security concerns? I think the task can be done in a very, very simple way. Same applies to the HR also. Then the concern with your data privacy, whatever the data is there, we need to be very sensitive, concerned about the data. So when we are asking, collecting data, what data is collected, how it is collected, and importantly, who can access the data. Data is available in organization database, but data cannot be easily available to all concerned parties. Then data integrity, the consistency among the data should be error free, all these aspects. And how we can overcome these challenges. One is changing the mindset. We need to understand that rather than taking the decision based on the intuition, it is good enough. It is very important that we need to take data based on the we need to take decision based on the available data. So we can collect the data, though data provide the evidences, and based on the data, we are taking decision without having our own biases. We need to come out of our biases. Then align people analytics solution to business outcome. The whatever solution we are applying to our HR department, it should not be done in an isolation way. It should be linked to the strategic objective of the organization. Then we need to educate key stakeholders with respect to the significance of HR analytics, the importance of HR analytics, how it can be utilized by different way. Those persons who will be actually using it, providing them proper learning, training with respect to handling these HR analytics related functions, etc. Then choosing the right technology which is fitting into my budget, as well as it's very easy for my people to understand and apply. Then uh, uh, remember one important phenomena: focus on solving business process problem, not data analysis. So if as a HR analytics, I am thinking uh, in terms of computing the cost per hire, it means how much money has occurred on hiring of one person. So I may be more linked, more associated with computational part. No, computational part is just a tool. We need to have more focus on, okay, I've computed cost per hire. So what? What is its use? How it can be utilized? How it can be utilized to enhance the performance of HR? Maybe you are doing it first time. So you have calculated this amount. Now, once you have computed, you can compare yourself with the industry standard, and you can assess yourself whether your performance is good or not. If you have done it in past also, you can compare your current performance with your past, whether it's good or bad. If it is good, what are those factors which have resulted it in a good way? If it has not achieved the target, what are the points which have led to this failure? So we need to understand those things. So we need to have more focus on solving business problem rather than data analysis. Then how it is related to strategy of the organization. All of you may know the basic understanding of the strategic management. That strategic management starts from the top of the top management of the organization. Ultimately, the most important thing of an organization is strategy, from which everything is derived. We have objective of the organization, we have vision and mission of the organization, and all things are derived from that vision and mission. So how my HR is linked to that strategy of the organization. HR cannot work in isolation. For example, suppose I have decided that next 2 years I have to launch this new product. So I have to enhance my innovation. Now, in order to enhance innovation, how HR can help? Maybe whatever people we are hiring, or there's a requirement to hire the people who are more innovative, or if we want to launch a particular product in 2 years, we want to hire those people who are expertise in that particular area. So now our task is linked to that strategy of the organization, the objective of the organization. Now, as the new product is to be launched in next 2 years. So now from that, you can simply think how much time is available to you to hire those new manpower who are expert in skill set which are needed for this product development, or which are needed to make more and more innovation in next 2 years. So you need to define your time. You can't say that, okay, I will hire in next 6 months or 1 year. You need to have proper timeline. In this way, your HR is being linked to the strategy, strategy of the organization. So how HR is related to the strategic business values, that is basically the linkage of HR with the strategy of the organization. Now for example, time to hire. So it's one of the metrics. We will be talking about this in unit 2. If we talk about the time to hire, how it is linked to the strategy of the organization. Again, in the same way that I have talked about the previous example, it can be linked to the objective of the organization in terms of enhancing the product, in terms of reducing the cost, in terms of providing the suitable manpower which will be helpful to achieve the objectives of the organization. So if we want to expand our business, we need to have expertise in that new areas, so we can hire those experts in the very less time period. It will enhance our efficiency. So it can be applied in all aspects of the human resource. Now, what the common pitfalls? Pitfalls are different from the challenges. Pitfall are the potential problem that can be sorted out. One is scattered data. Data is at different places, and I need to collect the data. Whatever I am doing in my HR analytics may not be linked with the business objectives. So I need to provide the linkage between these two. Then data is of poor quality. The people are not having adequate access to the data. Pitfall. Then supervisor is not based on the data, or the data is not reliable. Once you have computed the metrics, for example, time to hire. So this time you have recruited people, and during the recruitment cycle, you have computed this time to hire. So now you have generated report and send it to the concerned person. Now you have forgotten this thing. Now again, the next time you are hiring the people, you are again computing, but it has no linkage with the previous one. It means you are not doing follow through. So once you have generated the data, what is the data, what insight is providing, and how it is helping in the decision making. You need to keep follow through all which will help you to enhance your performance. Then changing people is hard. If people are not willing to go with the HR analytics, they are having you can say resistance to change. It is difficult to change their mindset. Similar way, measuring what is easy to measure. So we are not measuring all those things which are very complex in nature. Then we are not having sufficient funding, underfunding people analytics. And remember one thing, like we say in computer, also we say in analytics, garbage in, garbage out. If you are having some algorithm, it is very simple, about 2x2 numbers. Whatever data you will give, it will give some output. So whatever data is to be given in HR analytics, it will provide you output. But if the input data is garbage, so output will also be garbage. So it's a garbage in, garbage out. So in order to have proper outcome from HR analytics, you need to provide data which is reliable, which is complete, which is error free, and which is collected from the reliable sources. So all those things you need to keep in mind. Then the HR analytics project is too ambitious. Remember, HR analytics is not a magic in itself. It can assist, it can provide the insights, but it itself cannot provide the magic or drastically enhance the performance of the organization. No translation to actionable insight. If you are simply providing the data in terms of report or table, but what are your recommendations? How those data can be used by the organization? If you are not providing that information, it is of no use. Now we need to understand what is HR analytics process. And this is the HR analytics process taken from one of the research paper published in 2020 in Journal of Work Applied Management. Now, understand this process, and with respect to this process, if you understand these different steps, you will understand the entire HR analytics. Rest is fitting the things into this diagram. So we start from the first, determining stakeholder requirements. Now, what are stakeholders? Earlier, I also talked to you regarding the linkage of HR with the top management. Regarding the linkage of HR with the top management in the traditional way, where top management considered HR as cost center. Now things are changing. So what are those stakeholders? Those stakeholders are those people who are actually using your outcomes, your insights, and one of the key stakeholder is your top management or your CEO. They have to take decisions as per the objectives, vision, and mission of the organization. Now, if again I'm taking the same example, if they want to expand their business and they want to launch new product in next 2 years, so that is their objective. With respect to those objectives, they will assign the different tasks to different departments. And in order to achieve those objectives, some of the tasks may be linked to HR also. Like the previous examples, the HR may need to hire the sufficient manpower for this expansion plan. What expert in that particular area? And in-house expertise may not be available. So first, what are the requirements of stakeholders from the perspective of HR analytics? This is the first step of HR analytics process. So in this example, the stakeholder, which is top management in this example, will ask HR that we need to hire the people with respect to these type of the task, or they are providing JD, job description. The people need to be hired to complete these type of jobs. And as I have to launch this product the next 2 year, so I also need to define some sort of timelines. I also need to define the budget constraints also. So whatever the requirements are from the stakeholder are to be communicated to the HR people. Second, define HR research and analytics agenda. Now we have got requirement from the top management. Suppose we have to hire the expert in a particular area. Now, in order to hire those people, how can you utilize our expertise? How we can utilize analytics? We are having data available with us. We are doing the process of recruitment continuously since last so many years. So we are having complete data with us in terms of the time to take hire, the sources of hiring, the efficiency of those sources, the importance of the different sources, such as where we want to hire from some websites like the LinkedIn, or we want to take help from some consultants who are providing the hiring services, etc. So what are our analytics agenda? Again, suppose similar type of requirement as HR we have completed in last 1 year, and we have measured time to hire and cost per hire also. Now in this time, because of having my prior experience, can we think in terms of enhancing our performance? So, sorry. So at this time, can we reduce our cost to hire or time to hire matrices? So in the step 2, we need to define our HR analytics agenda. Third is identify data sources. Once I have to define, okay, I need to perform these activities. One, with respect to these activities, I have to apply these type of matrices related to HR analytics. Now, how will I calculate those analytics, or how I will get those insights? In order to get insights, I need to have data. So what type of data I needed? From where I will get the data? What are those sources of the data? Whether those data we get from in-house or we need to go outside also. What are different formats of the data, different fields? All these things are part of third step of HR analytics process. Then once we have defined, it is a planning stage. Stage third is a planning stage. Once we have identified all those different aspects, then the next we can go with collecting of the data. So stage 4 is gather data. So now in stage 4, we are actually collecting the data that we have defined in stage 3 with respect to our HR analytics agenda defined stage 2, and that will help to our stakeholders which have been defined in at stage 1. Once I have gather the data, then the next step which is concerned with transform the data, or where the actual analytics take place. So we are having the data. We know what type of outcome we require from this data. Accordingly, stage 5, we will apply different tools, we will apply different models, concepts, we will apply softwares in order to get insight from the data. Now, story doesn't end here. We have got the insight, but insight will not provide any value addition until and unless it is actually utilized in the organization. For example, you learn HR analytics. It won't be helpful until unless you are applying the concept that you are learning here, either in pure HR analytics area or some related areas in your organization. So we get insight from that given data in stage 5. And once we have got this, then we need to communicate, we need to interpret the outcome, and then we need to communicate this to all concerned persons. Communicate these results in terms of descriptive, predictive, prescriptive, that we will cover what are descriptive, predictive, and prescriptive, to the concerned persons. And then once it has reached to those concerned person, in the stage 7, they will take the decision accordingly. So this is the complete HR analytics process. Now, key points in this process: HR analytics is not only concerned about collection of the data and providing the insights, that all. No, the important thing is what type of data you have to collect and what type of the analysis you need to do on those data is to be linked from the strategy of the organization, or with the objective, vision, and mission of the organization. That's why there is a stakeholder requirement. One. Second, whatever the data, whatever the insights that has been generated, these insights will be given to all those concerned person who are actually taking the decision. So these insights will go into decision making process. So these are the all 7 steps of your HR analytics process. Now, what are the skill set needed in HR analytics team? These are some of those things. One is data scientist. One of the important component of HR analytics is data. So the experts who know about the data, who understand various aspects of data, like the data cleansing, like the data security, like the data privacy. So we require those skill sets known as data scientist skill sets. So one of the job role is HR data scientist. Now we are having data. Data will not be of useful until unless you provide some analysis on it. And we will provide the analysis, or we will do analysis on it. So the second job role comes is HR analyst, who will actually perform the analysis on part of the data. So where HR data scientist mainly concerned with handling the data and providing to some extent the analysis on it. The task of HR analyst is mainly focused on doing the analysis on the data with respect to requirement of the HR team. HR strategist is a person who provide the linkage of your HR with the strategy of the organization. So how your HR matrices are linked to the strategy of the organization, what type of matrices are utilized or computed in the organization, how the performance can be enhanced, all those things are concerned with HR strategists. Then audit consultant are those people who are making some interventions in the organization in order to solve some problems. So they do they identify the problem, they find the solutions of the problem, they implement the solution, and then they see whether the solution has sorted out the particular problem or not. If it has been sorted out the problem, fine. If not, they will try to understand the reasons, and then further they try to identify some new solution or the some changes in the existing solution, and then again implement, and it will go and go on until unless we get the solutions. So those OD also concerned with some of those aspects of HR analytics. Now, this is an important diagram. If you have read this book Ikigai, which is mainly concerned about the life of a person, concerned about he or she should do those type which he or she loves, the skill sets available, he or she getting money out of it, and whether it is linked to the societal benefit or not. In the similar way, this is the diagram in HR analytics, where there are four important S concerned with the analytics, and these are strategy, science, statistics, and systems. When I say strategy, already we have talked about strategic perspective of HR analytics or strategic linkage of HR analytics. So HR is concerned with the linkage with the strategy of the organization or the organization objective. It cannot work in isolation. It cannot decide on its own the type of analysis it wants to do, but it is to be linked what exactly is related is required in order to link to the strategy of the organization. Another is the science. So what type of survey you will do, what type of experiments you will do in order to generate the data, in order to get the data, what the science behind this different type of analysis. Then statistics, mainly concerned with the algorithms, tools, formula, like correlation, predictive models, etc. And then system, all the complete thing requires system. When I say system, mainly all these things are required, are concerned from the perspective of IT. All these things cannot be done in a manual way. So we are having software systems in our organization. With respect to HR analytics, the system consists of software as well as hardware. So all type of software, the developing tools. If for example, suppose I want to make use Tableau for a dashboard, so I need to have Tableau. I also want to develop some software, so I can have developing tools, I can have Python or R language, etc. These four are important skill set with respect to HR analytics, and this is the end of first unit. So first unit we have completed. Now we will start unit number 2. Any query with respect to unit number 1? Any query with respect to unit number 1? Chat box is open. If you want, you ask. I've completed unit number 1 of your syllabus. If you are not having any doubt, then I think we can move ahead with the unit number 2. So I am seeing that someone is typing in chat board. I am waiting for him or her. Then we will start unit number 2. I will be sharing the complete study material with the group. So you have asked, please share evolution of HR analytics slide once. So I will be sharing the complete slide. I request you to ask me the concept that you have not understood rather than the data that is available on the slide that I will be sharing. If there is some issue with respect to concept, you are having some query in your mind, then we can discuss. Okay. So now we are going to start unit number 2. So we have covered unit number 1 completely. We have covered evolution of HR analytics. Then we have covered challenges with HR analytics and common pitfalls of HR analytics. We have covered basic understanding of HR analytics, strategic focus or its linkage with HR analytics. Then HR analytics process, 7-step process we have covered. Then what are the skill sets needed in HR analytics team we have covered. Now coming to unit 2, which is concerned with approaches to data analytics. Uh, what are the different type of analytics that are applicable in HR analytics and what are different tools we are covering in this unit, including strategic HR matrices versus benchmarking. So in this unit, you will have a feel. We are talking about metrics. We are talking about analytics. What type of analytics we can apply in HR? The slides I will be sharing with you, but whatever I will talking, maybe I may be using some of the examples. So if you want, you can write down those examples for your better understanding. We will be talking about HR scorecards. We have touched upon in the unit number 1, but not discussed. Then type of analytics. We have talked about just these descriptive, predictive, prescriptive, but not discussed it in detail. And then HR analytics framework. So I'm going to start this unit number 2. Now, what are the current approaches to measuring HR? How the HR is being measured? So this is the one of the table which will provide you current approach to measuring HR. Plus, it will also provide a comprehensive understanding of HR analytics. With the case of HR, how it is being measured. So first one is concerned about the efficiency, not just to try to understand, try to apply your mind. And important thing, try to provide the linkage among these different aspects. For example, here there are 4 approaches have been shown. How these 4 approaches are linked to each other. One. Second, whether these 4 approaches are covering the entire spectrum of human resource in the organization or not. You need to understand that thing. So if we talk about the entire human resource, one of the important aspect is how I can enhance the efficiency and effectiveness of my HR human resource. Now remember, we are not talking about the all people in the organization here. We are talking about the enhancing the efficiency of HR department. Like there is a marketing department, there is a production department. You enhance the efficiency, you want to enhance the efficiency of people in production department. So how will you do it? You will assess their performance. For example, if they are doing routine job, they are producing some products, then you can measure the number of the item produced on each day. So if today you have produced 10 items and tomorrow you have produced only 8 items, it means your performance has decreased. So you need to enhance your performance. Maybe on third day you have produced 12 items, so your performance has increased. If your performance is declining, you need to identify what are those reasons. In the similar way, performance of HR department need to be assessed and need to be enhanced. And one of the way of enhancing their performance is focusing on efficiency of HRM operations. Now, what are HRM operations? What is the main function of HR department? The main functions of HR department concerned with like recruitment and selection, orientation or onboarding, then providing the training, we say learning and development, then performance management, compensation management, how the salary will be defined. Uh, all those things are generally are part of HRM operations. Now, the first aspect is concerned with how I can enhance the efficiency of people who are involved in HR operation. So one, in order to understand this efficiency, the number of matrices are used. Matrices are nothing but some calculations. For example, what is the your percentage in this course that you are attending this class? So you may be having some percentage. Your percent is nothing but the total marks you have achieved divide the marks you have achieved divided by the total marks into 100, and you will get percentage. Now, suppose we want to compare 2%, we have to compare your performance from your last year to this year. We can see whether your percentage has increased or not. So again, the comparison can be done. In the same way, some of the formulas are available with respect to some of the measures. Now we are using the term matrices for those measures. So matrices are nothing but some measures we are measuring in the context of HRM operations. And for example, one of them is cost per hire. When you are recruiting people, the cost is involved. What are those costs? Cost may be internal or external. You are hiring people. You are involving your manpower or your people who are part of your department, who are doing this process of hiring. So the salary being paid to those persons are part of your cost related to hiring of the people. You may be taking service of some software, some websites. So you may be paying some money to those websites. So again, the money being paid to that website is a part of cost involved in hiring. One may also taking the help of some consultant available outside or some consulting firm who are providing the CVs to you. Fine. So that again is a component of the cost of hiring. Now you can compute the total cost and then you can identify how many people you have hired. Suppose the total cost is suppose 2L and you have hired 20 people. So you can compute 2L divided by 20. It will provide you cost per hire. So you can get the amount that has been spent on per hire per person. This can be used to enhance the efficiency. In the sense, then if you have done this in the last year also, you can compare your own performance with respect to your last year performance and whether you have enhanced it or not, or this can be compared with the other organization also. So this will help to enhance the efficiency of HRM operation, because always they will focus on the part of HR people as part of their performance appraisal, that this cost per hire, there should be declining trend, because you always need to strive to reduce the cost. So in the similar way, time to fill, training cost, or whether return on the training, all those things can be used, can be measured in order to enhance the efficiency of HRM operation. So the approach number 1 is concerned about the efficiency of HRM operation. On the contrary, the second approach is concerned with the what are best practices. So within my organization, maybe my cost per hire is 20,000 rupees. So in the last year, I spent 20,000 and this year I am spending 19,000. So I may be very good. I am strengthening my HRM operations. So I am on increasing trend and I could be very happy if I talk about this efficiency. But also this need to be supplemented. What is happening outside your organization? Maybe the industry industry benchmark is that there is average 15,000 is a cost of per hire. If I compare myself with that 15,000, I am spending 19,000. So I am away from that industry benchmark. So I need not be too happy. I can be happy in the sense I increase my efficiency, but again I have to reach toward that best practice index. Fine. So where first is focusing within the organization with respect to only efficiency of HRM operation. The second approach is concerned with the best practices that is happening within your industry. Third is HR dashboard. Okay, you have computed the metrics which is helping you to enhance the efficiency. You're also comparing yourself with the industry. But what about your own top management? How will you present your findings? How will you present the data to your top management or the concerned person in a way that is easily understandable by them and then can be computed on a click of the mouse? So the third important measurement approach in HR analytics is your dashboard or HR scorecard. So in dashboard, already I've shown you this picture of dashboard in the unit 1 slides. So the things are available on your dashboard and you can see it's a visualization of HR, visualization part of HR analytics. Now, how you are providing or how you are placing the information on the dashboard, it all depend on creativity. So it's not only concerned about how you compute the value, it also about your creativity, how you can place that information on a single dashboard or you can have multiple dashboard. So one is concerned with efficiency within the organization. Second is concerned with the best practices in the industry. Third, providing the information in a most efficient way to the top management. Fourth is concerned with how these various aspects of the people in HR. Now, I have already told you that when we concern about efficiency of HRM operations, the first approach, it is concerned only with respect to HR department. Unlike the approach for causal chain, it is concerned with the all people working in the organization. So, for example, whether my people are happy or not, whether my people are motivated or not in the entire organization. If my people are happy, they will be more productive. If they are not happy, they won't be productive. So I need to concern about assessing themselves, whether they are happy or they are having some problem. If they are not happy, what are those issues through which they are not happy? I need to understand those things. Now, another thing, my people are leaving the organization. What is the percentage of leaving the organization? If it is within acceptable limit, fine. If it is more than that, I need to understand why they are leaving. Even my percentage is within limited threshold. In spite of that, it might happen some of the very good employee of my organization has left the organization and I didn't want him or her to lose. So I need to identify what are those factors. All those things are concerned with the causal chain. So what are my employee attitude, how it is affecting their performance, how it is affecting their job performance. So basically there's a linkage of different constructs, how they are affecting each other. Different construct like employee attitude, the role of leadership, how leadership is affecting the knowledge sharing of the people in the organization, how leadership is affecting towards the happiness of the people, towards their enhancing their efficiency, how leadership is affecting their job satisfaction. Because you can see two different leaders. One is very supportive, cooperative, who is always ready to help employees, who is motivating the employee. Employee might be more happy with that person. Unlike if the leader is autocratic, he is having transaction relationship. Transaction relationship is that relationship which is based on give and take relationship. So all those aspects of HR are concerned with causal chain approach of HR. So these four are the approaches of measuring HR. Now strategic HR matrices. It means it is concerned with those matrices which are related to strategic objectives of the organization or which are having impact on the on achieving the objectives of the organization, or through which HR can justify itself that it has contributed either in enhancing the profit to the organization or reducing to the cost of the organization in a quantitative term. We are always talking in terms of quantitative value. Qualitative, we can provide so much so many arguments that HR is very, very important with respect to profit or cost of the organization. But today we are having more focus in terms of number. Now, already I have explained what are matrices. Matrices are some sort of calculations. Matrices are some sort of formulas which will provide you insight about some aspects of HR. And this will clear you. Like first of the matrices, cost per hire. These are the 10 important matrices generally used in HR. There are number of the matrices, and these are some of those key matrices taken from Forbes Advisor, which are very important, or current trend is going on with respect to these 10 HR matrices. So one is cost per hire. So I have already explained you need to calculate the complete cost which are involved, which has occurred in hiring of the people. For example, I have to hire 10 software professionals. So in hiring those 10 software professionals, I need to depute some of my team members on this particular task. So the salary given to them, the expenditure related to stationery or any other related things with respect to this activity are part of this cost into of hiring. Then those people are moving outside organization, maybe discussing with someone, maybe so those expenditure again part of this cost. I am taking help of some consultant, I am taking help of some website, even I may be buying some softwares where I can interact more and more with the potential candidates. So again, the complete cost is of the hiring, that is to be divided by the number of the people that have been hired. Maybe my requirement was 10, but I hired only 8 persons. So the total cost will be divided by 8. It is the cost per hire. If I can show that I have reduced my cost over a period of time, it means I have proven myself and I have contributed in reducing the cost of the company. So this work in this way. So I am on the one side, I am computing my matrices. On the other side, whatever the outcome is there, I am interpreting this outcome, and I am communicating this output to the top management with providing the linkage of this output with the my strategic objective of the organization in quantitative way. So one is cost per hire matrix. Second matrix is time to hire. Again, time to hire is very important phenomena. How much time we have taken in order to hire people. So uh, starting when I started the process, maybe I start process on the 1st of May and my hiring completed on 31st of May. So I have taken 31st days. Now next time, if I am taking days more than 31 or less than 31, it will show my it will reflect on my performance, whether I have enhanced my efficiency or not. For example, suppose I have taken more than 31 days, it means apparently it looks that my performance has not improved. However, there might be some reasons, there might be some factors which are not in my control. So I need to understand, I need to explain those factors, and I need to provide the solution in future. Those factors occurs. How will I handle those factors? If my time is reduced from 31 days to, let's suppose, 28 days, I can report this one, and I can interpret it this way that because of my prior experience, maybe we have further strengthened our hiring process, and that's why we are hiring people less than 31 days, unlike our previous benchmark data. Then another is quality of hire score. Now there will be different indicators. indicators may be present at the time of recruiting of the person, as well as the indicator after assessing the persons after his or her completion of 1 year. So I have hired person, they have stayed with me, with my organization for last 1 year. So I have taken their performance appraisal, retention rate, their feedback from their colleague, from their supervisor, etc. I can compute the quality of the higher score. Then employee net promoter score. My people who are part of my organization, to what extent they are providing references to their knowns to join this company. The logic behind this is, if people are happy with with this organization, they will prefer, or they will ask their friends, their relatives, their knowns to join this company. So they will provide more references. If they are not happy, they will not provide more references. So in this way, this employee net promoter score can be computed. Now you see, these are the matrices. It means they are having some formula based on the data, or we have to collect that relevant data in order to compute these matrices. Then absenteeism rate as percentage. So it can be on daily basis, it can be on weekly basis, it can be on monthly basis, or it can be on yearly basis or quarterly basis. It depends on your requirement. So it can be computed for single person or the group or the entire organization. So if you talk about one person, out of the days allotted to him or her on which he or she has to present in the office, out of those, how many days he or she is not in the office. So we can compute this absenteeism rate. Then employee growth rate. Employee growth rate, what was the status of that employee in last 1 year, if we are taking growth in terms of year wise, or if, or we can compute it quarterly wise. So what was the performance of that employee in last or before this 3 months. So quarterly I'm taking from that day, 3 months have been passed, what is current performance, and then I can compute whether there's a growth or not. Now how you are measuring the performance, that can be subjective, that depends on the organization, and there may be different criteria. If we talk in terms of production, maybe how much items you are producing. In terms of the software development, maybe lines per code, or it may be different criteria, but it's a subjective in nature. Then ETR, employee turnover rate, how many people are leaving my organization. Suppose I've hired 100 people and out of 190 have left the organization. It means there's a problem with my system. Either I am not hiring good people, or the people who have been hired are not happy in the organization, or maybe I'm not able to providing them good opportunities in various perspective, in terms of compensation as well as in terms of training and development. Maybe they are not getting good growth opportunity in this organization. Everything is fine, but they are not getting growth opportunities. So once we have got this data, we can interpret accordingly. Then salary average. What is the average salary given to them? Again, it can be done with respect to group as well as the entire organization or the department. So it can be computed at the level of team, at the level of department, or at the level of organization also. And this can be used to compare with the industry average. And if the employee sees that they are getting more salary, they might be more happy in the organization. They will be willing to be the organizer for a longer period of time. So once we are getting this matrix, and at the same time, what is its interpretation, how it can be utilized in decision making. Then diversity ratio. Today we have started focusing more and more on diversity. So there are few terms that can be measured as a part of HR analytics. One is diversity ratio, like the ratio between male and female. How many male employees with respect to female employees? As we are having more focus on providing more and more role to all genders. So we are promoting the female employees to join the organization, so that our female employees will be will move towards the equality with respect to the male employees. Generally, in spite of promoting so much, still in organizations, male employees are more as compared to female employees generally, as it depends on the nature of the organization. In addition to diversity, the belongingness, the equality, the inclusion, all those are the aspects. Now, these are some of the aspects in terms of number. Remember, we all are talking in terms of numbers. We are not talking about the other perspective in analytics or whatever the perspective we will talk. Finally, all these two things are to be converted in terms of number so that we can compare, we can assess our performance in terms of numbers, and we can provide linkage ourselves with the strategic objectives of the organization. Then benchmarking. I have talked about benchmarking in bits and pieces. Now, in complete sense, benchmarking are referred to some sort of standards on which I have to compare my organization or my HR team or whatever task I am doing. I have to compare it with the industry benchmarking. For example, suppose in your class, you are appearing in the examinations and your performance is being measured with respect to the other classmates. Like if you talk in terms of percentage within your class, so if you have got good percentage, ultimately the complete percentage is 100%, so you are moving toward that ideal score. If your school have got a percentage people who have passed in 10th class, then it can be compared with the other schools. People join higher degree in B schools that compare the organizations of B schools in terms of the ROI, return on investment. If you are joining the organization, you compare your salary with the salary your colleague is getting or the industry standard. So comparison within the organization or outside organization. So benchmarking is a process of comparing similar characteristics between or within business. I will say you one example with respect to benchmarking. I have gone to the doctor, the child specialist, with respect to my daughter. They're having complete software with them with respect to the height on age basis. So those the data have come based on the experiment, based on the past data, and now they have standardized it. So they say, okay, if the child is of 5-year age, this should be his or her height and weight. Even these data is different in terms of male and female. So they are assessing the performance, the growth, not performance, the growth of a child against those standards. So they are they are measuring the height and weight of the kid against those standards. If they are and along with their standard, the growth is okay. If they are having less as compared to whatever has been prescribed, they need to they are having basically undergrowth. If they are having more, they are overgrowth. So the growth of the kids are measured against those standards. Same thing happens in the HR. Like we have talked about the cost per hire. Again, one thing is cost per hire can be measured of your previous data or the data or the previous hiring. One. Second, your organization have set some standard. Your previous hiring was 20,000 rupees per hiring. Your organization has set one benchmark, like they want that you should have 17,000. You have to brought it down to 17,000 rupees per person. So there are two benchmarking, one with respect to your own standard in the last with respect to last hiring. Second, the benchmark set by your organization. Fine. So you will try to achieve this benchmark. So you will try to reduce your cost from 20,000 to 17,000 per person. One. Second, if you see from with industry standard, you will find that industry average is 15,000 rupees per cost per person. So now you will find the different third benchmark. So there may be different benchmark depending on your own requirement, and you need to compare your performance with respect to those benchmarking. So benchmarking helps you to enhance your performance. So it like again I said you it can be conducted in multiple levels into the industry. So the industry standard hypothetically I have taken with respect to cost per hire is 15,000 rupees. So that is your industry benchmarking. Then department, your between industry and then organization, your organization asked you to bring it down from 20,000 rupees to 17,000 rupees. So your organization benchmark is your 17,000 rupees. Now department, your HR says we will try to bring down it from the previous way. So previous was 20,000 rupees. We have to brought it down from 20,000, maybe 19,000, maybe 18,000. So this could be the third benchmark. And then individual. Now there's a one person who has to whom you have given the task. There are 5 persons involved in hiring process. Each is spending some amount, some money with respect to different activities. So you can ask them to bring down their expenditure with respect to hiring. So again, the individual targets can be given. In this way, those are the benchmarking, and one can compare the performance with those benchmarking. So internal benchmarking or the external benchmarking, when we talk about your organization with the other organization or the industry, is the external benchmarking. When we talk about yourself within your departments, within your organization, it's the internal benchmarking. Then another important concept is HR scorecards. HR scorecards are nothing but a way of providing the KPIs. KPI are key performance indicator. So what are your key performance indicator against those which have been set? For example, uh, your family says you should get 80% marks in the exam. So the target is 80% marks. So one of the key performance indicator is getting percentage. And what is the target? 80% of marks. Now you will do hard work and maybe you have got 78% marks. So key performance indicator, performance in exam in terms of percentage is 78 that you have got against the standard set by 80%. Maybe you have got 80% also. You may get more than 80% also. So in the case of HR, there are number of the key performance indicator, and in order to represent key performance indicator in terms of some way which can be easily understood by different stakeholders is known as scorecards. This can be written in terms of simple descriptive, but writing all those things in descriptive way will not provide value to the top management. They are not having time to read the entire things. So the things could be present in a proper way, which can be easily understood by the different stakeholders. And one of the way to present the information is scorecards where key performance indicators are presented. These key KPIs, key performance indicators, are derived from the strategy of the organization, from the goals and objective of the organization. It includes the benchmarking. We have talked about the benchmarking, like it shows the example. The strategy of the organization or the one of the main objectives of the organization is to launch the few products of the of your area in next 2 years. In order to launch new products, we need to develop these new products. So our strategy is organization need to innovate more. So we are focusing on innovation in order to develop new products in next 2 years. Your strategy is focusing on innovation. Now, how will you focus on innovation? Now we are trying to link these things with respect to each other. So one, we have set the objective that next 2 years we need to develop some new product. How will you develop new product? In order to develop new product, we need to provide more focus on innovation in the organization. So our strategy is to be most innovative organization in the sector. How will we become more innovative organization? So we have taken the task to the HR that we need to have more qualified personals. We can have this or we can enhance this qualification or the skills or the competency of the existing people also by providing the focus on learning and development, again the domain of HR. Or we can ask to hire more people, so that we can introduce some new blood in the organization, some fresh mind in the organization. Rather, generally it happens when we are working in the organization, we may start thinking on the similar line. So many times we require to have fresh perspective. So we may go for hiring some qualified professional. So the task has been given to HR. Now, we are driving from strategy innovation to hiring more qualified professional. When we are hiring, it involves cost. So one of the financial goal could be the decreasing of recruitment cost. And now those things have been converted in terms of KPI. So one of the KPI in order to hire more qualified professional to provide more innovation in the organization is position in the sector-wide innovation benchmark. So there could be some measures of measuring this innovation phenomena, where current score is 5 and we want our organization in among top 3. For example, in a particular industry, the number of the organization belong to that industry, and there is a way of defining the innovation peculiar to that industry, and there is again some way to measure that innovation in that peculiar industry, and based on those score, our current score is 5 and target is that we need to be top 3. So when I talk about your example of passing the exam and the target was set 80%, you have got 78%. So you need to get to 80%. That was your target. So you need to improve from 78% to 80% in your next exam. In the similar way, our current status is 5 and we want to make among top 3. So it can be one of the KPIs. And another thing, we will hire the people, and how we'll assess the quality of those people who have been hired. We are measuring that it is having satisfaction score of managers after 1 year. Current score we know, and we can have the targeted score that it may be more than 0.70, it may be 0.75, 0.8, 0.85. So all this information is being represented in terms of the table shown here. This is known as HR scorecard. So if you are providing the information to the top management, your head, just by seeing this HR scorecard, they will come to know, they will come to understand. Then these are our KPIs, these are our targets, which are our current score, and it will clearly provide them the targets where they want to reach, where the organization need to reach. By seeing this simply scorecard, and this scorecard can be communicated to all people in the HR or employees, so that they will work accordingly. So this is HR scorecard. Another example, just the modified version of the previous one, focusing only on deliverables. Like here the deliverable was hire more qualified professionals, and if we say deliverables in terms of financial decrease of recruitment cost. So with respect to some of the things, converting in terms of the metrics, HR deliverable was requirement efficiency. So how we can enhance our requirement efficiency? Maybe we can reduce time to hire from 45 days to the 30 days. So it is our KPI, key performance indicator. Our current status is that we are having 45 days as time to hire. So for hiring, our department is taking 45 days. Now for next hiring, the new target is that we need to complete this process in less than 30 days. So all those targets with respect to KPIs are represented in HR scorecards. HR scorecard. So HR scorecard is providing is basically providing you the targets that you need to achieve. Then types of the analytics. This is very, very important. And this is the important diagram given by the Gartner, a consulting, their consultants. So, and remember, these type of analytics, there are 4 type of analytics applicable everywhere. When you talk about business analytics, it is applicable. When you talk about HR analytics, it is applicable. When you talk about the data analytics, it is applicable. Just you need to understand how it is applicable to HR or how it is applicable to business. Fine. So here also the same diagram is being taken. All 4 type of analytics are there, and we need to understand how these 4 type of analytics are applicable in the case of HR. Now, there are 4 type of analytics. One is descriptive, second diagnostic, third predictive, fourth prescriptive, and they are moving diagonally. On the one side, difficulty level, on the other side, value. When we talk about descriptive analytics, the difficulty level is low as well as value is also low. For example, suppose I want to provide the information, how many employees you have in your organization? You say 25, fine. Compute. You are having that data with you. You are having employees data in your system. You can simply compute and show how many people are there. So very, very fun, very basic information we are providing. It's a type of descriptive analytics. What happened? What information available with you, and value is less because we know, oh, okay, 25 people are there. The some value is there, whether we want to expand or not, whether we are able to complete our existing task with the manpower of 25 people, or we need to enhance. In the other thing like descriptive, how many people have left the organization in last 1 year? Simple numbers. How many people have left organization in last? We are not talking about why they have left the organization. Fine. So in descriptive analytics, it's concerned with what happened. What is the scenario? You are simply describing the scenario. For example, suppose I will say, tell you real life example. Last year, starting from last to last year, and the effect was more prominent in last year on the diamond industry in the Surat, where they were losing their business because they were getting raw material from the Russia, and their main buyer were Europe and US, who denied to take those products which are using raw material from the Russia. So simply we are describing the phenomena. Okay, the sale has declined so much. The raw material being important, having amount of so much. In the similar way, HR, whatever data is available with us in terms of how many people I am having, how many people have left the organization, what is the turnover ratio, how many male employees are there, how many people female employees are there, how many people are graduated, how many people are having PhD degree, how many people belongs to particular discipline, how many people belong to other disciplines, how many are engineers, how many are managers. Simple data. I am putting the data. Simple. I am describing the phenomena. I'm describing this is the organization. It has established in this and this year. It is having so many employees. They're having so many branches. So the sale of last 1 year is so and so. It's simply sell these products. All these are simply descriptive analytics, providing the what happened, what is there, providing the description of the data. Fine. Then it will not provide so much insights. It is simply providing the information with respect to the organization. That's why insight is there, the insight, foresight. Then second, diagnostic analytics. Okay, this data is there. Why this is happening? Fine. So why this is happening? For example, in descriptive analytics, you have given in your organization out of 100, 70 are male employees and 30 are female employees. For example, I am into developing some new product. I have hired 100 researchers or 100 scientists or developers. Out of those, 70 are male and 30 are female. So the questions arise, why male are more age compared to female? So 70 are male, 30 are female. What are those? Why no females are not coming or not joining the organization? It's the industry trend, or it is happening peculiar to your organization also. Or in suppose last year, out of 100 people you have recruited, 70 have left the organization. So why those people are leaving the organization? What are those different reasons? Those are concerned with diagnostic analytics. So diagnostic analytics will provide you information about the causes of the particular event that has occurred. So like I have given the example, if people are leaving the organization, why they are leaving the organization? The answer of those things, I think, please mute your mic. Somebody is having your Harshita, please mute your mic. Harshita, Harshita. Fine. So diagnostic analytics, in diagnostic analytics, you will try to find the causes of that particular phenomena. In the case of HR analytics, descriptive analytics is like I have computed cost to hire. So I have hired people in last 1 month and I know the total cost occurred. Based on that, I have simply computed time cost to hire and providing this data to the concerned persons. Now, suppose the cost is opposed a benchmark, then the second questions arise, why there is a more cost? Why the cost is not declining? Why I am not able to achieve the targets? So I will do diagnostic analytics, why it has happened. Then third, what will happen? It talk about the future, predictive analytics. So what will happen in the future? For example, in last 1 year, out of 100, I have hired 50 people and 70 people have left the organization. I may be having data of my last 10 hiring. So in the hiring 1, I have hired so many people. In hiring 2, I have hired so many people. And similar, all those 10 hirings which have occurred in last, suppose 5 years, I may be having data. Can I predict future? Can I predict that if in last 10 years, this is my trend of hiring people, it means in the next 1 year, how many people I need to hire? So if I will be predicting about the future, it is known as predictive analytics. In the same way, if I can have data of my last 5 years about the people leaving the organization. So can I predict how many people are about to leave the organization in the next 5 years? Now you can say what is the need of this predictive analytics? The need of predictive analytics is that okay, we will explain the need for each and every analytics. As far as descriptive analytics is concerned, you want to know the current status of your organization, that you need. That's why you need to provide the description of your complete HR people or all concerned information. If you are not able to achieve the target associated with your HR analytics process, or if you are not able to hire the good quality people, you need to understand the causes. Until you are not understanding the phenomena, you can't do the corrective measures. So you need to understand why it has happened. Then I need to plan for my next 1 year. There's a planning of the organization. If suppose organization is predicting sales in next 1 year, of planning to produce so many quantity of particular product in next 1 year. It will help organization to grow. For example, suppose Amazon is selling goods on various occasions. Now it's May. The next occasion could be the 15th August. If I cannot predict myself on 15th August, how will I plan? Maybe myself will increase twofold. If suddenly it increased twofold, I may not be sufficient inventory with me. So well in advance, with some tools, I will predict that so many the number of the products with different categories will are about to sold on next 15. It's a prediction. We are simply predicting, okay, next 15 August when we will have big day sale, we assume that so many products may be bought by the customers. Just we are predicting based on our past experience, and it will help us to have sufficient inventory. In the similar way, when we are talking about the about HR analytics, based on our past experience and based on the data available with respect to the people living in the organization, we can predict the future. We can predict that next 1 year, so many people are about to leave the organization, as well as we need to have so many people to recruit to fill the gap. So if I know those predictions, I can plan accordingly. Okay, next 1 year, this will be my recruitment phases. In these phases, I will hire people. The cost will occur in this way. I am setting my targets in terms of like KPIs. I will enhance my performance. I will try to reduce my my cost per hire or time to hire. So it will help me to plan in an effective way, so that I can I can reduce the cost, and I can provide the concerned required manpower to different stakeholders in my organization. Fine. So starting from simply providing the description, then why it has happened, identifying the causes, then predictive analytics, what is there in the future that I need to take care. So I am predicting about the number of the people they are about to live in the organization next 1 year. Fine. Then next is the prescriptive analytics, where you are concerned about, it's a basically recommending system. How can we make it happen? It means, okay, fine, this has happened. I know I am having data. So what? If this has happened, what could be the causes? So I also identify the causes. So I know what has happened, as well as I know why it has happened. Fine. And I can also predict what will happen in the future. So what? How it will make sense to me? It will make sense to me provided I am willing to take this data as input and make the corrective actions. For example, suppose I know, again I'm taking the example of the exam. I have appeared in 5 subjects. I have got so much marks in the subject, that descriptive analytics. Why it has happened? Maybe I have not good marks in some particular subject. So I need to identify the causes, that these are the causes. Because of that, I have not good marks in the subject. Now predictive analytics. If based on my past 5 years of data of 2 years or semester wise, if this is happening in past also, so the chances are high that it will also happen in the future. Up to this, it is having value in the terms of understanding the phenomena, but the major value will be added if I am learning from this thing. I know that these are the causes. Because of that, I am getting less marks, and this is there is also high chance that it will happen in the future also. Fine. So if I'm a wise man, I will take this data as input, and I will take the suggestive measures so as not to get again the good marks in the exam, but I will work hard based on the reasons that caused me to get low marks. I will try to work on me in order to reduce those causes, so that in future I can get good marks. In the case of HR analytics, again, we are focusing on one example. we've talked about that in last 1 year or last quarter or 4 quarters or 6 months, whatever time period you are defining, so many people have left the organization. Simple descriptive analytics. Then if then we try to identify the reasons why they have left the organization. So we have find 4 or 5 reasons. Maybe they are getting good opportunities or maybe any other reasons. So this is diagnostic analytics. We have found the reasons why they have left the organizations. Third, based on the past data, we can predict in future so many people are about to leave the organizations. So predictive analytics. Now, based on these 3 type analytics, can I identify and then I can take the corrective action so that my people will not leave the organization next 1 year, or less number of people will left the organization. So all those corrective action that I need to be taken, all those recommendations are part of prescriptive analytics. So prescriptive analytics provide you the way, prescriptive analytics provide you suggestions which help you to reduce or to handle the problem. So in the case of turnover, prescriptive analytics will provide you way so as to reduce the turnover rate, or make the other suggestions through which you can make the people, you can convince people to be part of the organization and to live with the organization, not to leave the to be part of the organization and not to leave the organization. So these are the 4 type of analytics applicable to HR. Prescriptive analytics, like I was told you what we should do. So in order to make people not to leave the organization, what type of actions that could be taken? So best course of action. Then predictive analytics, what will happen? Okay, if and last few years so many people have left the organization in next 1 year, how many people will leave the organization? Predictive analytics. Then diagnostic, why did that happen? Identifying the causes, why people are leaving the organization. And descriptive, what happened, how many people have left the organization. So simply these are the details of these descriptive, predictive and prescriptive. They are descriptive, like the dashboard already I have shown. It's again a dashboard where the different data is being shown based on different stakeholders. Predictive analytics, you are having so many people. Or another example of predictive, you are can be used in succession planning. You are having so many people with you, you know their skills and competencies, they are very good productive workers. Now with a succession planning, out of those employees who will be head of the department, if when the current head of the department may be promoted to the high level, so again you can apply predictive HR analytics. Also you should know HR analytics China wall, generally majority of the people are here descriptive and diagnostic level. Even they are not touching to predictive analytics and forget about the prescriptive analytics. So at this level, we say it's a roadblock. We can say it's a roadblock above which the organization need to jump. And it's comparatively easy to have descriptive analytics and diagnostic analytics in HR. And it is difficult on the part of predictive analytics and prescriptive analytics, because at this level, the organization actually need to make concrete, consistent, and a lot of efforts. That's why we say China wall. The organization need to jump this China walls in between diagnostic analytics and predictive analytics. As the concept of China wall is that it was difficult to jump from the invaders who are coming from those Mongolia side towards the China, and China made this wall for their protection. Now it has taken it is being understood in this way. It is very difficult to jump the China wall, and a lot of efforts are required. And the same is in the case of HR. Even in the current scenario, the organization need to make a lot of efforts in order to have predictive analytics and prescriptive analytics, and that is known as China board. Then HR analytics framework. One of the framework is LAMP. It's a widely used framework. Framework are nothing but some sort of guidelines, some sort of way to apply the concept, the theoretical concept in actual organization. And one of the framework is LAMP framework. L for LAMP, A for analytics, M for measure, and P for process. So when one wants to implement HR analytics in the organization, then these are the frameworks which can be utilized. Like one is logic, the story that connects members and outcomes. When you want to apply HR analytics, one, how it is linked to the strategy of the organization, how it is linked to the vision and mission of the organization, how you can make people to be part of HR analytics, how you can convince the people, how you can provide the connection between the HR people, between the other people, how it is linked to the outcome in terms of the enhancing the performance of HR people, outcomes in terms of the entire organization, outcome in terms of how it is giving impact, or it is giving insight for effective decision making. So generally define the logic of applying this HR analytics in the context of an organization. As HR people, as a people who are responsible for implementing HR analytics in organization, they need to be very clear about the logic. So why part? Why we are focusing on HR analytics? Why we can't live in a peace? Like if we are working in the organization, we always in a comfort zone and we want to win comfort zone. So what is the logic of applying HR analytics in the context of the organization? Whether it will enhance the performance, or it is simply wastage of the resources, or because my computer is doing, that's why I also need to involve in it. So we need to have proper logic in order to implement HR analytics in the organization. Then analytics, drawing the right conclusions from the data. What are those things that you need to get output? So what type of algorithms you apply, what type of the insights you want to have, how it will help decision makers, how it will add to the value. So it might happen that for a particular organization, one matrix is important, but for the other organization, another matrix is important. For you, what are those metrics which are important? What are those type of analysis you want in your organization? Fine. Then measure using the right numbers. How you are measuring? What are the data? What is the consistency of the data? How you will handle the data? How will you collect the data? How these are connected with your HR system, their HR information system, this HR analytics is there. So the measure, then process, using data to influence decision, how the data can be linked to influence the decisions. And here one by one in detailed discussion, logic is methodological and logical process of discovering the pertinent data and metrics required to assess and enhance employee performance. And how will you get it? What type of data and metrics you are required? How will you get it? You will get it when you will link your HR with the strategic objectives of the organization, where you will have interaction with your stakeholders, when you will understand the requirement of your stakeholders, and based on the requirement of stakeholders, you will provide the logic that this is the logic with respect to HR analytics, and we will be having these type of data and the metrics associated. So you are providing the use of particular data and metrics from the linkage of the organization strategic objective as well as the other department. Then analytics examines the determined data and metrics to gather knowledge and spot patterns and trend. So it is concerned with the data and metrics actually applying the concept on those data metrics that have to be identified based on stakeholder perspective and the logic, and about identifying the patterns and trends. Then how those metrics that have been given by the analytics process are used to assess the performance or to enhance the performance of the people. Then how the mesh system implemented as KML. Okay, you have got very good planning. You identify the metrics. You also in process the appropriate way algorithm software tools in order to apply on data to get good insight. You also good plan how you will use those things in order to enhance the performance. But what about the actual implementation? You are good at book, you are good at planning, but you have to implement that in your organization also. So the last P part concerned with process is source is concerned with, or it shows that how managing system will be implemented and managed. So this is all about unit 2. Any doubt with respect to unit 2? You can write in your chat box. I am waiting. You can write down in your chat box. I'm waiting if any one of you is interested. So no question from your side. So I'm assuming that you understood the concept of unit 2. Now we are moving to unit number 3. So unit number 3, dynamics of HR matrices. Till now, we have provided the basic understanding of HR analytics, its evolution, common pitfalls, etc. And then we have covered unit 2, where we talk about what are current approaches to measuring HR, and we talk about the 4 key approaches covering the entire spectrum of HR analytics in organization. Then how uh, it is linked to the strategic objectives of the organization. Then we talk about the key HR matrices, and we talk about the benchmarking scorecards, and then we discussed in detail about the various type of analytics, including descriptive, predictive, prescriptive, and diagnostic. And then we talk about the HR analytics framework, where we talk about the LAMP framework. Now we will be covering unit number 3. Unit number 3 is talk about the dynamics of HR metrics. Now you all know what is HR metric. A simple way, we have we talked about the 10 key matrices. So you will be having a feel of it, how these metrics will be calculated. It's a very, very simple mathematical concept. At the level of these matrices, which have been shown, there will be some complex metrics. And when we were talking about the predictive analytics and prescriptive analytics, there will be some complex algorithms involved. However, as a HR people, we need not go into the algorithm level, but we need to understand what are our requirements, what HR analytics is providing us as insights, because we are having number of the tools, but we won't be able to use those tools until and unless we are very, very clear about our requirement. And how will we come to know about our requirement? From the stakeholders who are part of the organization. So whatever we are doing, it is having linkage to the strategy of the organization. keeping this thing in mind, we will be focusing on this unit number 3, where we will be focusing on the analytic cycles, employee cycles, then agile framework, what is agile framework, HR valuation, how HR is have adding value to the organization. Some aspects we have already talked about. However, we will be talking about HR value chain in detail. Then what are those matrices to measure HR effectiveness? There are number of the matrices available. Some of those matrices which can be utilized to measure HR effectiveness, we will be talking about those in this third. Then what are factor employee turnover, linkage between engagement, performance. These are the general topics. And then how HR analytics is providing the competitive edge. So this is all about unit number 3. So first is employee life cycle. Some of you may be working in the organization, and so you are very, very clear about it, and you may be having understanding what is the employee life cycle. For others, there are the different steps of the employee life cycle. For everything, there is a life cycle. If we talk about our life, we take birth through different stages. Ultimately, there is a death. So this is the person's life cycle. In the same way, there is a product life cycle. So product is starting from R&D, then product is manufactured, then there's a growth, then maturity, decline, etc. So there is a life cycle. In the same way, there is a life cycle of the employee. So in a nutshell, in a very, very layman term, is the life of an employee starting from the day when he or she has entered into the organization to when he or she leave the organization. These the complete steps of the person, he or she, joining the organization till he or she leave the organization is known as employee life cycle. And this is your employee life cycle. All of you might have basic understanding of this this employee life cycle. So first, if you go with literature, you may find this process. Some say the 6-stage process, some say the 7-stage processes, but it's a generic framework being shown here. So first is attraction. So on the part of company, on the part of an organization based on its requirement, advertise the post, and for advertise for and provide the means which provide the attraction of people, potential candidate towards this organization. So they highlight their own plus points. They highlight career path. They try to attract the potential candidates so that they can join the organization by providing the different type of information, different growth opportunity, etc. So employee life cycle starts from the process of attraction on the part of the organization, when organization attracts to the potential candidate to join the organization, and on the part of potential candidate, the candidates try to understand that attraction coming from some organization, and that attraction make them to enter into the recruitment process of that particular organization. And based on this attraction, if it is appealing to them, then they come in the contact of the organization, they fill the form, they be in contact with the consultant or the concerned hiring team by various means, maybe in a very traditional way, sending their CV in the hard form to the current scenario, sending through the email, then using the these recruitment sites like or social networking sites like the LinkedIn, where I can apply for a particular job through the through that LinkedIn itself, rather than sending the mail directly. Or there are some portals, job portals like naukri.com, monster.com, etc. So first is the process of employee life cycle is attraction. Once the employee entered the entered into this first phase of employee life cycle, the attraction, then he or she may be recruited by the organization through the recruitment process. So Second is recruitment. Once the employee has joined the organization, once the employee has been selected by the organization, then he or she join the organization, and the first process is the onboarding. When he or she join the organization, orientation is given to him. He comes to know about the basic understanding of various processes, the culture of the organization, about his job description, what he or she is supposed to do, the interaction of the person with other employees in the organization, the key officials, his supervisors or the managers, the subordinates, etc. So the third stage of employee life cycle is onboarding. Then the fourth is a development. Once he or she has joined the organization, he or she is completely involved in the given task, but over a period of time, the skill set and competencies of those employees need to be developed. So it's a learning and development process, the fourth stage of employee life cycle. Life cycle is whenever the person is in organization, throughout that time, learning and development is a continuous process. Over a period of time, there is a different type of skills and competences needed for a person when he moves from the lower position to the higher position in the hierarchy. So learning and development is another important aspects of employee life cycle. Then after some times, the employee may find some good avenue outside, or may not finding the environment conducive for his growth. Maybe he or she is not happy in the organization due to so many reasons. Then he or she tries to leave the organization. During that time, the efforts are made from the HR. Efforts are made from the HR to make the person, or to convince the person to be part of the to leave the organization, not to leave the organization. They try to understand with the person what are those reasons why he or she wants to leave the organizations, so that the corrective actions could be taken. So this fifth is retention. And then separation. Even in spite of the interaction with HR or maybe the supervisor, they try to make employee to rethink about their decision to leave the organization. If their process fails, then the last stage of employee life cycle is a separation, where employee leave the organization leave the current organization, maybe joining some other organizations. So these six are the important steps of the employee life cycle. Almost all employee life cycles. Now, generally, the diagram shows that attraction, then recruitment, onboarding, development, retention, separation. There may be little bit iteration within this, the complete connections of these six steps. For example, maybe during the onboarding, the person may leave the organization. So he or she may not have got proper learning and development in the organization. So it will directly go on board to the retention to separation. Maybe retention has been completed, and again the development is being done of that employee. Maybe he or she is being given training for new skill and competencies. So there may be some iteration within this 6-stage process. So this is your employee life cycle. Now I am taking break at this moment as per the time, and we will continue from this place onwards when we will be assembled again at 1500 hours. Sandeep ji, are you there? I am stopping the recording.